Welcome back to Pardon the Interjection with your host, Supreme L. Islam and Greetings. We're going to continue with the topic of 1789, and we'll be reading from a book entitled Europe, 1789 to 1920, in part by Edward Raymond Turner. And pardon the interjection. And remember, when you hear Turner or Washington, those are, Europeanized or colonialized names or derivatives of the names Washita and Tunica. Would be Turner and Washington. On page 294, we read in part, her soldiers were the best in Europe. She was a strong naval power. She drew great revenue from the industrial districts of the Netherlands, from Mexico and Peru. She received the greatest quantity of gold and silver that had ever come to any people in the world, while her poets, her dramatists, and her generals made this era her golden age. Decadent much of this was lost in the 16th century, 17th century. It of Spain was mostly gone in the 18th and in the 19th. Spain shorn of nearly all her colonies has sunk far below the rank of the first-rate powers. The causes of this terrible decline have often been explained, but they still continue to be instructive. Spain, like Portugal and Sweden, undertook far more than her strength permitted. She had neither population nor natural resources enough to enable her to hold a great empire. And the parts of her empire in Europe were so scattered that it would have been very hard to hold them in any event. She exhausted her resources trying to win back the revolted Netherlands. And in 1588, she lost a great fleet in the waters about England. From this time, her decline is often dated, but actually it resulted from far greater causes. Much of her soil is not rich or well watered, and could only be made to yield by irrigation and intensive agriculture. The best places were in the south, where agriculture and industry had been developed by the Moors and the Jews, pardon the interjection, who are us and the same. And we continue. The Christians, who had, during some hundreds of years, slowly reconquered the country from the Moors. Pardon the interjection. So this is saying that the Moors had conquered Europe, was running Europe. Where's that history? Where's that information at? Why has that not been taught in schools here in the States, so-called United States company, not the land, here in Morocco, northwest of Mexico? And we continue. Had come to love fighting for its own sake. And now they scorned any labor. It was indeed their skill and aptitude in fighting that enabled them to make their conquests in Italy. But meanwhile, they left the work of the country largely to the Moors and the Jews. Pardon the interjection. I remember when you hear Moors and Jews, one and the same, we're the same people. And we continue. Unfortunately, the Spaniards had become the most bigoted people in Europe. Their leaders determined to stamp out all heresy or heresy. And soon they drove out the Jews and the Moors, thus giving a death blow to the basic industries of the country. The Inquisition made such war upon freedom of thought that all the bolder and more enterprising intellects were suppressed or compelled to conform. There was indeed no heresy, but there was also no more of activity and progress. Meanwhile, Spain consistently lost the best and more vigorous of her people, the Moors, pardon the interjection, who went out as immigrants to America. Vast amounts of treasure in silver and gold continued to come from the American mines. But it went out of the country almost as soon as it entered, for there was little industry, and the people of Spain, no longer able to win wars and disdaining to work, sank further and further into economic stagnation, using their money to buy at high prices what others who worked could provide. We're going to pause it right there. Well, thank you for enjoying, or I pray that you enjoy each time we bring information to you to uplift fallen humanity. This has been another episode of Partner Interjection, March 19th, 2015. As always, don't believe me. Go check it out for yourself, and you will be amazed at the jewels you'll find on your treasure hunt. We are Moors. We have a nationality. We are a people. We're not black, Negro, colored, or chattel property. We are flesh and blood and full life beings. Now it's time for us to act accordingly. Love rules supreme. Islam, love, and peace forevermore.